Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I make Italian pickled eggplant, and they may not look like the biggest showstopper on the platter. However, what they lack in colour, they make up for in flavour. Choose fresh, firm, shiny eggplants that aren't too big. These are Black Beauty and you can't get fresher than this. Wash and remove the ends off the eggplants and then peel them. You can leave some peel on if you want, but the texture is more chewy. If you want the whole lot of pickled eggplants to be tender, then remove all the peels. It's up to you, it's personal choice. But if you're new to pickled eggplant, then definitely remove all of the peel. Slice the eggplant up into 8mm pieces. That's about 1/3 of an inch, and then we'll slice them up into matches. Add some quality coarse sea salt to a big plastic or glass bowl. Don't use metal for this because it's reactive with the salts and the eggplant, so we want to use plastic or glass for this recipe. Add the eggplant in layers and sprinkle a little bit of salt as you go over the top of the eggplant and mix it in at each layer. The salt will draw out the moisture and the water from the eggplant, which you'll be surprised at how much water is in an eggplant. The eggplant will reduce in size considerably. We're going to leave it for 24 hours. So I'm covering it with a plate so that we can weigh it down, and covering it with a tea towel so no bugs get in. And then we'll place some weights on top. These are clean weights. If you have something that you're worried there might be a bit of grub, dirt or something in it, then place it in a plastic bag. 24 hours later, we can remove the weights and the plate, and you can see how compacted the eggplant is now. I've got a plastic strainer here in a container so that it can catch all the liquid. Look how much there is. We want to drain out all of that salty liquid. Let's give it a bit of a squeeze. I'll throw out the excess. We don't need that. And now the container's empty, so the strainer can sit in there and continue to drain out the last bits. Break it up a little bit, and now we'll weigh it down again. This is a different shaped bowl, so I'm using 2 smaller plates to weigh it down with the weights on top so it's evenly dispersed as much as possible. I'm going to leave it like this for about 3 hours. Covering it up again so no bugs get in. It's been 3 hours and the brine is drained out of the eggplant. Now I'm pouring it into my big plastic bowl, which has been washed so it's nice and clean. Break up all the eggplant and then pour in your favourite white wine vinegar. You want a really good flavour of this. For this amount of eggplant, it's about 1 cup. And the eggplant's like a sponge, it will soak it right up. And then massage that in. It smells good. I'll set that aside. I'm dicing up some fresh garlic. This is Spanish garlic from my garden. And we'll add that in. And you can use as much or as little as you want. The same goes with chilli. I'm using dried chilli from the garden. I'll remove some of those seeds so it's not too hot. And just break that up. You could use fresh chilli, however, they won't last as long in storage if you do. And massage that in so the flavours get all mixed up in there. Some other herbs to use would be dried basil, dried oregano, even some dried dill. Now we squeeze as much liquid out as we possibly can. What we can do is grab a handful and give it a good squeeze. Squeeze all of that liquid out. Oh, it's so good. This is a time-consuming recipe. There's not much work to it. It's pretty easy. It just takes a long time in between the steps, but it's so worth it. Break it all up, and then we can place it in our jar. Oh, I wish you could smell this. This is a sterilised jar, and we just start packing it in. So that's 4 eggplants there. And I knew it would only be about a pint jar, but I wanted to use a quart jar so there was enough space for the oil to sit on top. I wasn't sure if the jar would be too full if it was a pint jar, because it was going to be pretty close, and I'd rather use a bigger jar and give it that headspace. Oh, that looks so good. Next up, we're going to cover it with oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil. This is one of my favourite local oils. A lighter oil would probably be better for eggplant because the olive oil can overpower it somewhat. However, this is a really delicious olive oil that's extra virgin, and it's worth it for me. I like it. So this is what I'm using. Now that should soak down a little bit. What we need to do is make sure it's covered up by the oil once it's settled down into it. This eggplant now gets stored in the refrigerator, and it can last for quite a few months in there, so long as it's covered up with the oil. The olive oil needs to be covering the eggplant at all times so that no moisture or oxygen can get into the eggplants, because they will spoil if that happens. So make sure that the oil is always covering the eggplant by at least just under 1 centimetre. If it needs topping up, then top it up as well. To use the eggplant, use a clean utensil to get the eggplant out, and make sure the rest that you're leaving in the container is underneath the oil. Now it needs to be left a couple of days to really absorb those flavours. Well, it's been a few days and the flavours should have really absorbed into that eggplant now. I always put the eggplant in a bowl because the oil is also something you want to soak up, and you don't want to waste any of that, especially if you've used good quality olive oil. Delicious. So if you're growing eggplants, or you come across a special where eggplants in good condition are up for a good price, then maybe you could be making pickled eggplants as well, the Italian style way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.